I am so excited today to be here at the Police Club, where we are going to be talking to some of the K-9 officers and some of the K-9 dogs as well too, and actually meeting them and doing some things with them. So we're going to learn about the trails and see exactly how they train. We're going to learn about how they actually go throughout the city of Greensboro in the vehicles, and just making sure that you as the public know how important this K-9 unit is for the city of Greensboro and the Greensboro Police Department. So sit back, relax, and let's check this out. I'm here with Sergeant Tabler. How are you today?
I'm fine. Thanks for having us.
Good. Thank you for having me. Could you maybe introduce yourself to our viewers and maybe tell about your role here at the city and how long you've been employed with the city of Greensboro?
I am D.W.TABLER. I'm a member of our K-9 unit, the police department. In June, I will start my 21st year with the city.
Wow.
While I've been with the city and with the department, I've held various roles, anything from patrol to I've been a member of our crime abatement team, our Center City resource team, our bike squad. But for a large chunk of my career, I've spent it, fortunately, with the K-9 unit. Currently, what my role consists of is just supervising day-to-day operations of the unit, and that can be anything from scheduling to make sure we have teams available as needed to support our patrol bureau. It can be managing the budget to make sure the handlers and the teams have the equipment that they need. It can be making sure that the dogs are getting the vet care that they need. So making sure they're being taken care of. But really at the end of the day, my job is just to make sure that we have teams that are out there performing at a level that can best help support the department's mission of helping to keep the citizens of Greensboro safe. Absolutely,
absolutely. So K-9, I've heard that all my life. Tell us about what K-9 is and what you all do.
Sure. So the K-9 unit is a 10-officer team, or we call them handlers, 10-handler team. And in addition to those 10 handlers, we have 14 K-9 dogs. Of those 14 dogs, 10 of them are what we call patrol dogs, and that's what you typically see in German Shepherds, Belgian Malinois, and they'll do a numerous number of tasks for us, to include tracking when people flee from us. They'll search buildings for us. They'll detect narcotics for us. They'll go out and locate evidence that's been discarded during the commission of a crime. And the final thing they do is, in certain rare cases, they'll apprehend people for us.
Wow.
In addition to those 10 patrol dogs, we currently support the bloodhound program. So we have, we have 2 bloodhounds. They're actually new to the unit, puppies, and what they'll end up doing for us and for Greensboro is kids go missing, or people that have some kind of cognitive issue that they're unable to help themselves. We can use them to trail those folks and figure out where they've wandered off to and disappeared to. And then finally, we have our explosive dogs, and so we have 2 Labrador retrievers that we use to detect explosive odors, and we'll use them when we're expecting a significant crowd to come to an event, and we'll just go in and try to secure the area as best we can with the explosive dogs.
Wow, I feel safe already. I had no idea. How many total was that again?
It's 14.
14
yes,
in the unit. And what are they technically called? How do you refer to them? I know they're dogs, but do they have like another technical name? Like, y'all are officers, so what are they?
They're technically considered officers by law as well. I mean, the laws that protect police now protect
them as well. Interesting. So what type of training do you all have to go through to actually be a member of this unit?
So when you're selected, and the selection process is pretty great, we will actually bring you in, assign you a suitable dog, and then you will attend a 400-hour or 10-week course that'll teach you how to handle the dog in every aspect of being a K-9 handler.
Wow, so just because you like dogs, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be perfect for this unit.
This is absolutely right, and a lot of that is what we consider when we are going through a selection process. What's the person's temperament like? What have they done? Are they physically fit, and that sort of thing. So yes, a lot goes into it.
Because that person, once they get assigned the dog, to my understanding, they spent quite a bit of time with that dog.
Correct. The dog will actually, they're pretty much attached at the hip, if you will. They'll go home with that handler at night. They live at their house. The handler's responsible for taking care of them. Like I mentioned, the medical care. If the dog needs any medical care, they have to take care of them that way. And then when they come to work, the dog stays in the truck with them the entire time. So it's literally a full-time commitment to be a part of the K-9 unit.
And I'm just listening, these dogs seem so calm and so nice now. But obviously they've been trained. What type of training do the dogs have to go through?
They get the same thing. They get
same thing.
10 weeks.
10
typically
weeks.
is what it takes once we bring them in, especially for the dogs that can do multiple areas.
Okay.
So yeah, and it really just depends on how well the dog progresses. Some of them progress faster than others, but typically it's a 10-week program and 400 hours.
And 400 hours. Now this dog we see behind us, what unit is this officer? This officer I'm looking at now.
Yeah, he is, that's Corporal DWAYNE DIAZ. He is another member, one of the supervisors with the unit, and that is one of our patrol dogs.
That's
so
a patrol dog.
So that dog will do the tracking, the building searches. He'll find evidence. He's trained in apprehension, and then he's also trained in narcotics detection.
Wow, and I'm just curious, what type of dog is that?
That's a shepherd. It just
That
happens
is a
to be an
shepherd.
all-black
See,
shepherd.
I was going to be check and be right because I thought that was a German shepherd. Now, what was that second one you said? What type of breed?
We have a Belgian Malinois. It's
Okay.
very similar to a shepherd.
Okay.
People get them confused a lot. They're slightly smaller in build, but the same characteristics. They're high drive and ability to do the job.
So how should the public act when they see one of these dogs or they may be around them at certain situations? How should the public act? Can they pet them? Someone come up and
What
pet
we
them?
recommend is most of our dogs, the answer is yes. That they're approachable and they can allow the public to pet them. What we do recommend is that you ask the
DIAZ
officer,
now.
the handler, if it's okay. Because,
Okay.
the dog can be engaged in some kind of work. You don't want to surprise the dog. You don't want to sneak up on him from
That's
behind.
true.
So it's just one of those things. Just ask the handler if it's okay, and typically it's going to be yes.
So now I hear the truck running. So why is the truck running again?
Well, because we keep the dogs in the truck when we're out of them.
Okay.
So we get a lot of questions about that, but we have to leave the air conditioning on for the dogs to, stay in a cool environment. We have some other accessories in there. We have what's called a hot and pop. So if the temperature inside the vehicle gets too hot, an alarm will go off, the horn will sound, the windows will roll down, a fan will come on, and it's just a way for us to keep up with the temperature in case there's ever a failure with the car where it does shut off and the heat gets too hot. It'll let us know that we need to get out there and get the dog out of the car before it turns bad.
Wow, can I see the hot and pop?
Absolutely.
Okay, and everything's in there that's it's customized for the dog. The dog can function in the back of that.
Correct.
Okay.
The back seats are removed and there's a kennel in the back of it, filled with water. And like I say, there's thermostats in there that'll keep, there are thermometers in there that'll keep the temperature gauged and let us know if it gets too hot.
And that totally makes sense for why these vehicles stay running all the time, because
Correct.
you have to keep them running to care for the dog.
Yes, ma'am.
Perfect. Yeah, I would like, what, hot and pop?
Hot and pop, yes.
See, I have hot and pop. Can we see the hot and pop?
Sure.
I'm gonna say that all the time. Is this where they come shoot? What? Yes, I did know that. So now I think we're going to talk a little bit about how the dogs are trained, and I see this adorable officer here, and what is his name?
This is Bloodhound Carson right here.
Bloodhound Carson.
That's right.
And is he the newest addition?
He is. He's the newest addition
Oh,
to the
wow.
Greensboro Police Department's K-9 unit. He is 19 weeks young.
19 weeks.
That's right.
Has he gone through the process that we talked about before, or he's still in that process?
He's still in training.
Okay,
So
okay.
he cannot certify until he's at least 10 months old.
10 months old, okay.
So right now we're doing a lot of beginning stuff, a lot of beginners trails and stuff like that with him, just trying to get the game programmed in his mind and let him know what he's going to be doing.
And when you say beginning trails, tell me a little bit about what you mean by that.
So what we like to do is we basically, we show the dog his reward, kind of get him amped up a little bit, and then the person with his treats will leave a scent article behind and kind of take off running. And then it's his job to follow that person's trail and find the person and get his reward. So, and that's pretty much how we start them off. As we progress in training, we'll make the trails harder, we'll put some turns in it, we'll change the surface of the trail, so we'll move from the woods to grass, and then eventually to like concrete and stuff like that.
I would love to help train him today. Do you think I could participate in that?
I think you can.
I can?
think you can, yep. We'll give you a few of these treats here.
Okay.
Let them smell your hand, and you can just say something like, "Here, Carson," or something like that.
Here, Carson.
Kind of like in a high-pitched voice, just to kind of get them excited.
Okay,
all right.
Carson.
So now you take off running, he'll
Ooh,
walk.
I'm running, Carson. Where am I running?
Yeah, you can just tuck right behind that building.
Okay.
Skeet him. Skeet him. All right. Here he comes. Skeet him. Here, buddy. Here. Here.
So now that Carson's had the treat, so does Carson need rest? Or?
He's young, and he's got a bunch of energy and stamina.
So he can keep going.
Yeah, it's nothing for him to keep continuously running these trails. We want to do enough to keep him interested, but not too much where it starts to get bored with it. So we kind of got to find that fine line between calling it quits, but also making it enjoyable for the dog as well.
Okay, so I see one of the dogs. Now, what's this dog's name?
This is Yaga.
Yaga, okay. And what is Yaga about to do?
He is about this. The boxes that you see out there are referred to as behavior shaping devices.
Okay.
So we use them when we initially start training the dogs to find and locate the odors of narcotics.
Yaga stopped. Why did Yaga stop?
Well, that particular box that he stopped at contains a training aid of cocaine. So what happens is the dog goes through, when he finds the box that contains the actual narcotic, his trained response is to sit, and then we can actually, from a remote control, pop a ball out of that hot box. So the dog begins to associate the odor of a narcotic with getting a reward, a toy. We have to be able to control the dog, and then there are circumstances where we may make the decision to deploy the dog to apprehend somebody, and then the subject complies. So we don't want the dog to continue down there and bite the person. So we have to have that ability to call them back to us when that happens.
Gotcha.
So that's what that was. It's just referred to as a recall. So to the dog right now, all he's doing is he's playing tug of war with the sleeve. There's no malice. He's going to let go and come right back to the handler. Now, if somebody were to assault the dog or assault the handler, his intent would be a little bit different. But in that situation, to him, it's a game. What he's doing now is he's leaving a scent article.
Okay.
So when you use a bloodhound, they track on the human odor.
Gotcha.
And so you need a scent article to scent the dog off of, to let the dog know this is who you were trying to find. So he left his hat there, and in a minute we'll get Bo, one of our older bloodhounds, let Bo sniff that hat, and then he's going to follow the trail to where Brad is hiding for us.
So once he sniffs the hat, then that scent will follow him around.
Correct.
That trail.
Correct. Because as you're walking, you can imagine your body's dropping skin cells and things like that. And so when he harnesses Bo, you see his whole demeanor changes. The harness is a key to Bo that it's time to get to work. Right now he's got that scent article.
Okay.
He's getting that scent picture in his brain, and now he's off right along the path that the officer went.
He's smelling.
Mm-hmm. To me, they're probably one of our biggest assets, because they're really trying to help people that can't help themselves.
Right. What's the group that you normally use them for? Is it, I would think, elderly people, disabled people?
We do a lot of people with elderly, people with cognitive disability type stuff. A lot of kids get turned around and missing.
Right.
And the nice thing about them is, whereas our patrol dogs track with disturbance in the ground, they actually use human scent. So they have scent discrimination built in, to where if there's several people out, you saw in the right here, he went up, determined that wasn't the person, and kept going. Yeah.
And I think I'm looking, so he found it.
He did.
He located him.
Mm-hmm.
So
he's
now he's getting his treat.
He's getting his treat.
we had an opportunity to see some of our finest K-9 officers in action. Retrieving information, getting treats, everything we saw today, and we can see how important K-9 really is for the city of Greensboro. So if you didn't know before, hopefully this episode will help you to realize what these officers, all of them, do for the city of Greensboro. And more importantly, they'll show you that's how Greensboro works.